Hi, welcome to another episode of Low Carb in the Leaves with me, Dr. Mary Barson from Real Life Medicine. This week, we're discussing the link between mood and food, which is possibly far more important than I think a lot of people realise. And certainly, whenever I see anyone with a mental health issue, or pretty much any issue really, I always ask, what do you eat? Because food is key to health for lots of reasons. So this week I've already discussed the gut-brain axis, so fascinating, so important, and the role of blood sugar regulation and insulin regulation on our brain, as our brain is an insulin responsive organ. And today I'm going to talk about the components of food. Food is this magical thing that we have evolved to require. We have evolved to eat natural foods. Hunter-gatherer humans would have hunted meat, hunted animals, probably would have eaten pretty much all of the animal, used the entire animal, would have foraged for berries and mushrooms and vegetables, probably eaten eggs when they found it, honey when they found it, certainly fruit. This is like the natural diet. And I think a useful way to frame it is to consider it like the ancestral diet. The ancestral diet is what is most in sync with our genes and what our bodies are designed to utilise. And modern processed foods are really out of whack with what we are designed to be able to eat. And in particular, modern processed foods can be quite nutrient poor. That is, the concentration of nutrients in them can be low. And if you want to optimise your mental health as well as your health in general, then it's important to choose nutrient-dense foods. So foods that are packed with as many nutrients as possible. And there are lots of nutrients. By and large, the more natural a food is, the more nutrient-dense it's going to be. And I generally recommend that people eat both plant and animal foods. If people are on a vegan or vegetarian diet and they're doing well, then we can certainly work with that. And if people are on a carnivore diet, that's what they choose to do, and they're doing well, then I can work with that too. But by and large, the weight of evidence suggests that we evolved to eat both plant foods and animal foods. And so basically a meat and veg diet is what I would generally recommend. I thought I might dive a little bit into the nutrients, the particular nutrients that are important for mental health. So, iron. Iron deficiency is really common. It's really common in women. And iron deficiency is known to impair the functioning of the human brain. Iron deficiency is associated with an increased risk of depression, anxiety, bipolar affective disorder, attention deficit disorder in kids and adolescents, and it could promote mood disorders in older people as well, particularly because iron deficiency impairs the production of serotonin and dopamine, and noradrenaline, which are three of our really important neurotransmitters in our brain. So iron deficiency is really important to avoid and to correct if you have it. And a great source of iron is the heme iron that we get in red meat, and heme iron is only found in animal products, meat, poultry and seafood. But non-heme iron, which is found in plants, veggies, particularly the darker green the veggie, the more non-heme iron it's going to have. And grains have got some, but it's far less available. Non-heme iron is much harder for our bodies to absorb than heme iron. And so people on a vegetarian or vegan diet are at risk of iron deficiency. And I think it's an important thing that needs to be monitored because of its role in mental health as well as many other things. And the other one is zinc. I would say iron's probably one of the most important minerals for mental health, but zinc is also really important. And zinc deficiency is relatively common. and it has adverse effects on our mood. Zinc is really highly concentrated in areas of our brain that are involved with emotional processing. So it seems like zinc has some kind of role in regulating our emotions. And trials have looked at supplementing with zinc and found that it increases the effect of antidepressants when it's taken, and can also just help generally calm the mind. I don't recommend that people blindly take zinc supplements though, because supplements, particularly of the minerals, can be potentially dangerous. We need these, but we only need them in really tiny amounts. And if we take too much of any of those minerals, of manganese, copper, iron, zinc, we can upset things and make ourselves unwell. So I'm always a food first sort of a person. A great source of zinc is seafood, particularly oysters. It's a really good source of zinc. The other one is magnesium. Magnesium is generally known as the calming mineral. It's a really good adjunct treatment to anxiety. Interestingly, magnesium calms the pathways in the brain that are excited by drugs like speed and ecstasy, the MDMA pathways. Magnesium calms them down. It's a very nice and calming. It can help people sleep as well. Magnesium would be one of the few supplements that I would, not quite routinely, but almost routinely recommend, especially if people are on a low-carb diet, because it is quite possible the way that lowering insulin affects the kidneys, that magnesium can get a little bit low, and it's generally pretty safe. So if you're having any trouble sleeping, maybe you could try a magnesium supplement, like a magnesium citrate at night, or what I prefer to do is to have a magnesium bath. So get some lovely Epsom salts and soak in a lovely magnesium bath. It's a really great and pretty safe way to get some extra magnesium to calm your mind. It's very good for you. So they're the main minerals. There are also a great host of vitamins that are really important and for mental health, including folate and vitamin B6, vitamin B12, which vitamin B12 is almost exclusively found in animal products. And so again, vegan or vegetarians are at risk of B12 deficiency, which can really adversely affect mood. So that's something I would monitor. I wanted to talk about choline in particular, because choline doesn't get as much airtime as the other B vitamins. And I think it's really important, particularly if you're on a low-carb, healthy fat diet, a diet that has a little bit more fat than, say, standard Australian diet. Fat's good for you. Fat's not the enemy if you're eating healthy, natural foods that contain fat. But choline is a B vitamin that is essential for healthy brain function and essential for healthy metabolism of our fats. And choline deficiency is really, really common. And the reason why choline deficiency is really common is that the best sources of choline are like egg yolks and foods that have been traditionally demonised. So fatty cuts of meat, liver, egg yolks. There's also some in leaner cuts of meat like beef, chicken and turkey, and some choline in your dark green veggies. And if you're in a high-fat diet, you actually need a little bit more choline because it has a very important role in the liver to allow us to process the fats, to be able to make those lipoproteins that we've mentioned before that transport fat and cholesterol around your body. And it's also a crucial nutrient for brain development and brain function, especially pregnant women need to make sure they get enough choline. So I mentioned choline here because people don't talk about it very much. and because choline deficiency is really common, and because it's especially important for people on a low carb real food diet to eat the whole foods, to eat the egg yolks, to eat liver. Liver's so good for you. I'm very pro liver. I really encourage everyone to give liver a go, or at least eat the fatty cuts of meat. Eat the entire sort of eat those less common and maybe less popular cuts of meat, because they've got lots of choline in it, which will just make your brain happy. Another final nutrient, this is by no means an exhaustive list, but vitamin D is also really important for mental health, and vitamin D deficiency is extremely, extremely common. Vitamin D supplementation is another supplement that I almost routinely recommend. So, vitamin D, I've got a question. Can you take calcium and magnesium together? I take calcium D K2 supplement for osteoporosis. So Kaz, yeah, good question. Kaz is wondering about calcium, magnesium together and vitamin D and K2. Look, you can. I'm wary of calcium supplementation in women. I didn't mention calcium today. Calcium supplementation has been associated with increased risks of heart disease in women, so I would never just blindly recommend it. However, of course, sometimes when women are calcium deficient and under the supervision of their doctor, taking a calcium supplement is a very reasonable thing to do. And yes, you can take calcium and magnesium together. They're both positively charged ions that can compete for the same transporters, I think, but there's no reason why you can't take them together. But yeah, maybe talk to your doctor about the calcium supplementation and whether or not that's necessary. The vitamin D and the K2 are probably going to be fine, but again, I'd chat to your doctor. Okay, so I recommend getting sun exposure every day, not to the point of getting burnt, but a little bit of sun exposure every day. However, anybody who lives probably, I'd say 37 degrees at latitude, and Melbourne is about 37 degrees latitude, I think. It's just really, really hard to get enough sun to be able to allow your skin to manufacture enough vitamin D. So really, I would say that if you live on the southerny bits of Australia or the really northerny bits of the world, then you probably should supplement. And it's a pretty reasonable and safe thing to do. But good dietary sources of vitamin D are wild-caught seafood, eggs, yay for eggs, particularly pastured eggs. And I haven't talked about fatty acids, and I'm not going to today because it's too much. But yeah, getting eggs that have from chickens that have eaten grass and getting your meat from pastured animals is a good way to improve the nutrition. They're great sources of vitamin D. Cod liver oil is a good source of vitamin D, but sunlight is the best. Okay, your GP's put you on calcium. Excellent, that's cool. If it's medically supervised, that's fine, go for it. Wonderful, all right, so thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your delicious, real, nutrient-dense food and enjoy the wonderful, wonderful brain improving effects. Okay, see you later.